Hola, yo soy Don Silos y bienvenidos al Flavor Podcast, episodio 5. The Flavor Podcast, sit down interviews with people adding their own tastes in their everyday life. You know. Hey guys, it's Don Silos and welcome to another episode of the Flavor Podcast, sit down interviews with people adding their own tastes in their everyday life. Now, in today's episode, I'm sitting here with Victor Reyes of Apparel. So, Victor, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. This is episode 4 or 5. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me on here. And yeah, basically, well, my name is Victor, and I am the owner of Directed. So what Directed is an athletic lifestyle clothing brand, and we are based here out of the Valley. Most of the stuff that we're doing right now is here in the Valley, and what we're trying to do is basically give a name to where we're from, because for the most part, we're here in California, and for the most part, I feel like everywhere else gets recognition except the Valley. So stuff like the Bay Area, everybody knows the Bay Area, and everybody knows the stuff that's coming out of LA, but nobody knows what's coming out of here. So towns like Tracy, Stockton, Modesto, Manteca, even Fresno, Sacramento, and everything in between. We're just trying to bring more unity to it. And the way I do it is through my brand, Directed. And for the most part right now, we're also trying to just bring up a lot of the underrated talent that we have around here, because there is a lot of talent out here. I know for a fact there's a lot of things going on out here, but nobody wants to pay much attention to it. So what we're trying to bring to it is a name, give people a name, give people a connection to it, and keep them close to it. So thank you just so much for having me on here.
Yeah, so right off the bat, so what's the meaning behind the name Directed?
So Directed, for me, what it means is, well, our motto is to aim in the right direction. And this is just something that I just not came up with, something that it took me a while to piece it together as I've grown up and matured over time, just because I've had a lot of things that have happened in my life. And I just want to give some people like a meaning behind, just make sure that you're always aiming in the right direction, because life is very dynamic. Life changes all the time. There's always things that are going to pop up, whether it's, in your personal or outside. You just have to make sure that as long as you're directing your energy or yourself in the right place, that's all that really matters. Obviously, we don't have a map to this. You know what I mean? Nobody ever has a map as to where they're, like, you kind of have a vision and a goal as to what you really want to do in life, but nobody really has a map. Like, okay, I'm going to go here first, and then we'll go here first, then here first. But what I mean by that is, like, as long as the direction is right and you feel that it's right, that's all that really matters to you, because everything will eventually fall into place. So that's what Directed means, to make sure that you're aiming in the right direction. And that goes for everybody, from athletes to just regular people. As long as you know that you're doing stuff in the right way, that's all that should really get you to where you want to be. Because again, there's really no map to this. It's just you kind of feeling it out and making sure that you're doing things in the right way. Obviously, there's going to be setbacks. There's always going to be setbacks. But again, that's why I say life is dynamic. Dynamic meaning that it changes. Even our day-to-day lives, we will try and plan out what we do throughout the day, but stuff just pops up. I don't know, you got a flat tire on the way to work. Or even if you want to take it into athletic fields, I don't know, you get up, you go out, and for some reason something goes wrong with a certain joint, and you don't have a good routine going on. So that's what I mean by life is being very dynamic. But as long as you're able to adjust, that's what I tell people all the time. Just make sure that you're able to adjust at the moment. Don't be like, okay, it's ruined now. Tell yourself, it's like, all right, you know what? All right, this happened. Okay, what do I do next? What's next? Well, how can I stay on track, or how can I fix it right here at the moment?
So what would you say sparked your interest in the clothing business and fashion?
So for me, it was very much... So you have your elites, right? Everybody has their elites for athletic clothing. So what are the elites? You have Nike and Adidas. You have Puma. You have Under Armour. You have even like stuff like K-Swiss. If I forget to mention any, don't scold me for this. These are just coming off the top of my head. These are what usually come out of. And don't get me wrong, like, they've all earned their place. They're worldwide. They're international. So I'm very much into this lifestyle. I take care of myself. I work out. I go to the gym, I train, I do MMA, I do a whole lot of different things. So I wanted to think about it like, okay, what can I bring that's starting to look a little bit more appealing when you go do your everyday activities, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's going to the gym or going out for a jog. I wanted just to give people like, you know, a look as to how all this can turn out. So that's why I started slowly, like, you know, I was like, all right, how can I pull this off a little bit better? Obviously, I'm not on the same par. I don't have the same resources as like these elite companies, you know, but I'm trying to pull it off. So it's like, okay, more than just the clothing itself, because at the end of the day, when you look at clothing, it's like, it's just a shirt, but it's the brand or whatever that's really giving it that name. It's that brand. And that's what I very much want to do with Directed. I want people to look at it and be like, I'm connected to that. That's what I like. I want to stand behind what it means, what that brand means. Because at the end of the day, most of these, they all, in a way, kind of look alike.
Yeah.
You know, Nike, Adidas. You can just slap on a Nike tag, but people know. It's like, that's Nike. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much trying to do the same thing with Directed. It's like, all right, people are going to look at it. It's like, that's Directed. This means an athletic, healthier lifestyle for better living.
So what would you say, since you started your brand, was the biggest lesson you've learned so far to this point?
All right. So the biggest lesson, and this is for anybody that's trying to do something similar to this, is don't expect everybody to be behind you. Mm. And what I mean by that, I don't mean this in any way. Okay, the biggest thing, what you have to understand is that nobody owes you anything. You know what I mean? It's not nobody's responsibility to look out after you and be like, it's nice when people do it, but it's not really, because everybody kind of has their own thing they're trying to do. Some people haven't even figured out what they want to do. Yeah. So don't expect everybody to be behind you. And I learned this lesson the hard way from family members. It's very much true. Like, I heard it all the time. Usually family will be the first one to drag you down. And I was like, nah, I'll be fine. And it really was. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to any of the family members. It's just like, you know, they were always like, don't do this. Or why are you doing that? You know what I mean? You should just stick to what we have going on already.
Well, why do you think they would say stuff like that?
To be honest, and to be 100% honest, I just think they were just trying to look out for me, what they thought is best. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like, okay, like when, like, parents will only teach you as much as they know. You know what I mean? They will only teach a kid as much as they know. So, like, you have your good, like, don't do this and do that. But some parents will never explain as to why. Yeah. So they'll only teach you as much as they know. So I kind of apply that logic to, like, the people that told me not to do this. They're like, don't do this because I don't know if they've tried it before in the past and it didn't work for them. Or I don't know if they're just looking out for me and they're like, oh, you're just going to be wasting your time. But that's the biggest thing. Don't expect everybody to be behind you to say, oh, you know, I'm going to support you. When I dropped the first shirts that I had, because only 3 people that I knew bought. Everything else, external. People I don't even know. You know, so that shows a lot. Mm-hmm. But I was taking it so personal. I was just like, my God, I don't like why. But now I figured it out. I was like, it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm always focused on pleasing the people that I know, I'm never going to expand. Yeah. I'm never going to look out to, like, different people that I don't know. So that's why it's like, now, if you don't support me, I really don't mind. I don't care. And that's no offense to anybody that doesn't want to support it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I don't expect you. That's what makes us all different. Everybody has their own taste. I don't expect anybody to, like, really, like, the people I know to support me. If you do, that's fine. If you don't, I'm okay with it. You know what I mean? There's nothing personal. But now I can focus on the people that do support me. And that's what's going to help me grow.
So how do you plan on growing?
The biggest thing right now is like, okay, when I was first thinking about it, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this worldwide and this and that. But I'm like, why? You know what I mean? I was like, okay, where am I from? The Valley. It's like, do we have a name? Are there, off the top of your head, can you name any athletes out of the Valley?
Like a specific, like, sport?
I mean, any sport, to be honest. You can a couple, right? Yeah. But, like, you can probably get more out of the Bay. You can get more out of LA. So, in my head, I was like, okay, why not start this wave here? Why not go to, like, you know, these underrated... Because there's so much talent here. Yeah. All these underrated kids that have it in them, that have this unique, you know... Not unique, but have that that have that spark. You can look at someone and be like, all right, this kid's got something.
Yeah.
Maybe what they lack is the support.
Yeah, well, so what would you define as an athlete then?
Honestly, there's levels to athletes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have like your extreme athletes, like, you know, you're like LeBron James or whatever, and then you have your more subtle, like, you know, track stars or whatever. Both are good at their craft.
Yeah.
That's their craft. That's what they work at. I would define an athlete as just anybody that's out there just trying to get better physically and mentally, because the mental is what's going to get you through the physical.
Yeah.
And also the physical is what's going to help the mental. So it's like a yin and yang. They bounce off each other. So that's how I feel like this is going to grow to better. Just having people from here and then eventually take it further. Mm-hmm. But just take it one step at a time. You know, find whoever is talented, you know, even track stars, basketball players, soccer players, people that go to the gym, people that just have that passion in them. You know what I mean? You can just see it. Like they like you see them and they're just radiating. Like you feel it. Like this guy's got it. Now I want my brand to have people like that. People like that. Like when people look at my brand, they think of all this. Because if you think of like, okay, like Adidas or Nike, you always think of these big stars: Serena Williams, LeBron James, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi. These are some big stars. Yeah. That's why a lot of the reason why it's Adidas or Nike or Puma or whatever is so supported. So now it's like, all right, I'm gonna give these people that feel like they don't have a name for anything, I'm gonna give them something to look up to. That's my approach.
So where do you see your brand in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I honestly see my brand globally. I have the team. Mm-hmm. I very much believe in my team.
So talk about your team. Who's in your team? What are each aspect of each person doing?
All right. So right now there's 4 of us in my team. So there's me, mm-hmm. and then there's Kayla, Alex, and Christian. Everybody has their own different thing that they bring into it. I feel like we very much balance each other out very well. I very much believe in every single one of my team members. Yeah. Like when I tell them, it's like I believe in you. It's like I really do believe in you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have you on my team. I very much feel like they each have something different to bring. Whether it's Kayla, that like she's very, like, sometimes she's like just constantly taking little stabs at me and stuff like that. But it's those digs that you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's gonna keep you like, going harder.
Myself,
you know.
Don't get me wrong. I push myself, but then she brings like other different things, like different aspects and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, I never thought about it like that. Or like, oh yeah, you're right. Or like. Alex like has brought ideas into me, like, you know, connected us through different websites and stuff like that. Christian, the same thing. He has, like, you know, believe it or not, like Christian knows how to take, like, you know, some dope pictures. You know what I mean? Those are just hidden talents they have. Yeah. So everybody very much has their own thing that they bring to the table, and those are just some of the things. Yeah. They each have more things. My biggest thing is just making sure that we all stay together. Yeah. Obviously, I work my ass off. But at the same time, it's like I just have to keep everybody motivated, keep everybody letting them know it's like you guys got it. Like we all have it, and there's no other option. Like I'm not letting anybody down. I'm not letting anybody from my team down.
How important do you feel having a team behind you is?
I very much feel like it's very important because, you know, a lot of the times, like people that make it, I want to say maybe like 20% of them make it on their own. And the other 80% have a team to support them, but I feel like not as much recognition is given to their team. I feel like it's very important. For one, it takes the stress off the work. So if we have a project or an upcoming date, instead of one, like us, there's 4. So instead of one person, there's 4. Yeah. So now we can each individually divide the work, and we each kind of support each other. So if one of us falls behind, as long as they're open about it and feel like they're falling behind, I'm more than happy, or we're all more than happy, willing to like grab each other and pick each other back up. Just kind of giving that support and kind of just giving those like little stabs at each other. Yeah. Like, all right, let's just like, you know, make sure we're back on it.
So when things start getting tough, what are some of the things that keep you motivated?
So the biggest thing right now is like I can't fail. Mm-hmm. I've worked in the construction industry since I was like 13. Yeah. I worked entire summers. It's very humble work. No disrespect to anybody that's out there working. It's just like anything else, like a day job. You know what I mean? Obviously, some jobs are harder than others. For me, it's just like, all right. And I told you a story before. It was one day when I decided to do this. It was one day I was working for a whole week straight underneath some guy's house. Literally had like 3 feet of room underneath the dirt, digging holes. And I told myself, I was like, I really can't be doing this. I can't. It's humble work. Don't get me wrong. I have the utmost respect for all those people that are out there doing their day jobs. You guys are the moral support of this country. You guys are the foundation. It just wasn't for me. I've never been interested in that field. I've always been interested in, like, you know, fitness, health, the athletics, clothing itself. You know what I mean? So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to put it, my own spin on it. I'm going to make my own thing out of it. That's one of the things that keeps me motivated. Just the fact that, like, I can't fail, or I can't see myself doing mediocre work the rest of my life. I don't want to be 40, look back in my life and be like, what is this? What did I didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
The second thing that I have a lot of things that keep me motivated. One of the second thing that keeps me motivated, and I talked about it before, was my cousin passing away. So my cousin passed away. He was basically my brother. We grew up together. He passed away last year. He passed away on Thanksgiving. And, well, we're in 2018. He passed away 2016 on Thanksgiving. It was horrible experience. Car crash, 4 days in the hospital. No, 3 days in the hospital. I was there through everything. It was just, it was a horrible experience. And then the more I thought about it with him, it's like, my cousin very much wanted to be a music artist. He was always playing a guitar. And, like, I just didn't piece these things together. And now that, like, he passed away, I hate how he passed. It had to be something like that for me to piece something together. But he was playing a guitar. Like, you know, he would write, like, his little raps or whatever. Like, he very much wanted to be a music artist. And then he went away for a while. He moved away and tried to figure things out on his own. When he came back, he still wanted to do the same thing. But it's almost like life had hit him so hard with, like, different things. He was a butler. Not a butler. A valet parker. And all these different things, and it kind of like just drained him. So by the time he came here, he still very much wanted to do it, but he was very low key about it, just because, like, you know, again, you have to. Everybody feels like you have to, like, do what everybody else is doing. So he very much felt like, okay, I have to do this. I can't pursue that.
Yeah.
And he passed away. So he never got the chance to experience what it was like to pursue something that he liked. And that, for me, I mean, it was horrible. Like, you know, just thinking, like, all right, I don't know. I'm not jinxing anything, but, like, you don't know, and I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
We never want to think like that. You know what I mean? We're not over there like, I'm not gonna go outside, but
I mean, I feel like you got to think about that stuff sometimes, you know, because, like, for example, if he would have known that was gonna happen, would you think he'd still be doing this stuff that he was doing?
He wouldn't. He wouldn't. And yeah, it's very true. I think again, I don't live panicked. But I do very much keep that in my head. I'm like, all right, if today I pass, was I really doing what I liked? Was I doing what somebody else wanted me to do?
Exactly.
So when he passed away, I just started piecing all this together, and I was like, he didn't get a chance to pursue what it was like to be a music artist. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. I don't know what happened to me. So why don't I take a swing at it? And if I swing at it, I'm going to swing at it with everything I got.
Better swing that like, motherfucker.
Yeah, I am.
Barry Bonds in this bitch.
Yeah. I've swung more times than I've hit in this life. I'm very young, but I can tell you I've had my fair share of losses, just like anybody else.
But as long as you take those losses as a lesson, that's what's going to matter in the end.
And just keep swinging. All it takes is you hitting it right one time.
Exactly.
And that's all it's going to take. So I'm going to swing at this with everything that I have. Because he's gone now. He can't pursue it. I'm here. I'm breathing. I have to, you know, I don't want to be 40 years old looking back on my life and I didn't do anything. I didn't do what I wanted to. So that's why I'm going to pursue this with everything that I have.
So do you have any passions apart from the clothing?
Any passions? Well, I'm very much into taking care of myself. I'm very for 90% of the time. I still, don't get me wrong, guys, I still love eating out and stuff like that, but I very much take care of myself, just because I feel like if your nutrition is on point, then the way you are is a lot better. And what I mean by the way you are is just everything from your health to the way you move feels a whole lot better when you take care of your nutrition. I feel like that's very underrated. As entrepreneurs, I feel like a lot of us, not us, because I'm not in that category, but like a lot of people overlook that, their nutrition, you know what I mean? Because you're always like hustling, you know what I mean? But like, so like you'll eat whatever, like it's convenient, but at the same time, it's like, it's that same stuff that you're eating that will make you feel sluggish. So are you really at your max?
Yeah.
No. So if you start eating better, then you will be at your max. I very much still love, going out, working out, either whether it's working out at the gym, doing jujitsu, going on hikes, going on runs with my dogs. I'm very much into this active lifestyle. Obviously, I have other stuff. I'm not that fitness freak, you know what I mean? I don't try and force it on people. I do very much try and like open people's ears to this stuff, because if everybody was just to take care of themselves a little more, everybody would be so much better. You would get up early in the mornings and just feel better. You would go to sleep better sleeping patterns. Everything just comes together. As far as like other passion, I very much like clothing. I'm not super like a hype beast, but I very much like, you know what I mean? I like putting stuff together and like a nice look to it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge geek. I love comics. I just don't have. Comics? I just, bro, I'll read Marvel, DC.
What's your top comic?
All right, Spider-Man.
Classic.
All right, number one on anything. Spider-Man will always be my favorite.
Why is that?
Because I grew up with him. Uh-huh. When I was younger, my pops very much loved this stuff too, and my pops would always buy me these toys. And all right, so I know this sounds cheesy. This is a little bit off topic from what directed is, but when you're a kid, there's like a lot of things that like you can't figure out yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, parents will only teach you as much as they know. But like when you're a kid, you look at like, for one, I feel like you have to be born a comic book fan. Like the way you open it, like who said it? Redman said it. Redman? I think it was Redman or Method Man said like you just have to be born into it. But like when you start reading these things, they're very much subjects that you can relate to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I started reading this when I was younger, I just very much related to all these things. I was like, oh, okay. And the one guy that stuck out to me was Spider-Man. Just a nerdy, geeky guy. No billionaire, no money, nothing. Just broke all the time. But just watching him get through his struggles is like, okay, it kind of... When I grew older, I look back and I'm like, you know, this is very relatable. The average person, like, you know, just trying to make it out there. Mm-hmm. So it's very relatable. That's one of the things. Obviously, right now, I'm very focused on what I do. I very much believe that like time is everything, so I don't have all the time in the world to read that stuff. I rarely get a chance to read that stuff, but I am a huge comic book fan. I am a huge superhero fan. I'm a huge anime fan. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I'm a huge Naruto, all that stuff. But again, that's just my personal part. But I don't have the time to be reading that stuff all the time. I find balance in it when I get a chance. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing. Find balance to this stuff. You know what I mean? Very much work all the time, but like that doesn't mean like I'm a good multitasker. So I'll be able to answer emails or design this stuff while like I have like Dragon Ball Z playing in the background. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm very good at that. And some people are like, I can't do that. Either I watch this or I do this. I'm like, no, it's like I just don't think about it too much. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm able to like keep that balance, keep that flow going on, because I don't want to be in this industry and look at everything black and white. You know what I mean? I want to have some kind of spark to it.
You gotta have some flavor.
Some flavor. So that's why. So that's just some of the things I do. If you try and do too much of everything, you're not gonna get good at anything.
You're gonna be average at everything.
Yeah, you're gonna be average at everything. You know,
not great at anything.
Don't get me wrong. It's cool seeing all these things, like, you know what I mean, that people are able to do and stuff. But at the end of the day, if you just try and do all these different things, you're never gonna get good at anything. You're gonna be mediocre at everything. So just focus on the stuff that you feel that you're good at. That doesn't mean don't step out of your comfort zone. But at the same time, it's like you can do these other stuff, but they can't consume too much of your time. Because if you're someone that's focused and you have someone that has a goal, if you're wasting your time doing all this other mediocre things, you're just living life like every other mediocre person, and that's not going to get you any results whatsoever. I believe in balance. I believe like maybe 1 or 2 hours out of the day, do that stuff. But if it's taking up 6 to 7 hours of your day, then you're never going to get anywhere like that. You know what I mean? It's very true, right?
Yeah.
Very true. You have your own little hobbies and stuff that you like, right?
Yeah.
But do you have all the time in the world to do?
No, I do.
Right, well, Carlos does. I really don't. Like, you know what I mean? Actually, no, because what you're doing right here is a part of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like,
this is my hobby.
But like, anime isn't a part of like my athletic clothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very different.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to focus on this, because this is what's gonna elevate me and take me to where I want to be. And I'm bringing everybody with me that was there from the beginning. I'm bringing my whole team with me. I'm bringing all the support that was there with me. You guys keep this, document this. I'm bringing everybody.
Use this against him.
Like, so where's my free shirt? But I just want to make sure that things go in the right way.
So, if you could go back in time and tell yourself, like, go back to your 18-year-old self, one word of advice, what would it be?
Hustle. I know it's very like cheesy and you hear it all the time, but hustle. You know what I mean? It took me a while to figure this stuff out. It took me very much a while. Actually, when I was 18 is when I first started losing weight and getting in shape. I've been at this, like, I've always been active. But, like, as far as, like, building muscle and stuff like that, I've been at it for 3 years now. I would very much tell myself to hustle. I would very much tell myself to know that, like, stop doing all this BS stuff on the side that has, like, is not going to get you anywhere. You know what I mean? I spent my time doing all this stuff that didn't really matter at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I would go back and tell myself, like, you have it. You know what I mean? It's just pursue it. If you don't know, ask, try, do.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. You're 18. What are you gonna lose? Nothing. If it falls off, then you get back up and you try again. But I would very much tell myself to hustle, and I would very much tell myself that, like, you know, I'm only getting older. Yeah. You're only getting older. I'm only getting older. So the second that you realize that, it's like, it clicks all together, and you're like, oh man, I can't be wasting my time just doing all this stuff. Don't get me wrong, there were nice experiences. I would definitely go back and relive a couple of them, but I would also cut a couple of them out because at the end of the day, they just cause more harm than good. So I would very much tell myself just to hustle. Hustle, not in the sense of like, I'm gonna smack you in the head. Just like, you know, kind of give yourself those little stabs here and there, because that's what. Yeah.
So that's your advice to yourself. What about to anybody else? So say there's somebody out there watching this right now or listening to this audio, and they're like, they want to get started in something, but they just don't know how. Like, what's some word of advice you would give to them?
What's one word of advice? Some advice that I would give to anybody just starting their own thing. Okay.
Like anything.
It'd be to not be afraid. And you know, the funny thing is, we hear this stuff all the time, like in like movies we watch, kids and stuff like that. But when you actually go down and like break this stuff down, it's like all these little messages that are hidden throughout. It's like they make so much sense when you actually break it down and digest them. Because a lot of times people never want to pursue anything because they're afraid. Yeah. Whether it's they're afraid they don't have the money, whether it's afraid they don't have the resources, whether it's afraid they don't have the support from anybody at all, whether it's they don't want to disappoint somebody, whether it's they don't want to disappoint themselves. It's always that fear that's going to keep you from going out there and pursuing something you like. You know what I mean? It's I see it all the time. I've seen it with friends. Friends are super talented, whether they're very good people, like a people person, or whether they're very good artists. You know what I mean? I would ask them, like, why don't you pursue this in something? And then they would just say, or I would ask, so they go, all right, why aren't you pursuing this on painting or whatever it is that you're good at? And they're like, because I can't make any money off of it. They're afraid of not being comfortable. Yeah. Because you very much have to step outside of your comfort zone for all this. But that's the biggest thing, is to not be afraid, to just go out there and try. Right now is the best time to be alive in America. Among a couple parts of the world, it's the best time to be alive. True. Everything's booming right now. Don't listen to the media. Everything is booming right now. Trust me when you know what I mean? When I tell you this stuff. Oh, I know. Everything is on the internet. Yeah. You can Google anything. You can YouTube almost anything. Yeah. So don't be scared. If you don't have the support, just know that you have yourself. And that's all you need at first. If you're good at something, or you're interested in something, chances are other people are interested in that. It's just now you have to like kind of like slap a label on it and like put it out there. And I don't mean by a physical label. I mean like just something to brand it and be like, all right, this is what I'm interested in. Is anybody else interested? And chances are somebody else is. Mm-hmm. And then you start building a little community, and then people will support you. You know what I mean? It's that fear that keeps us from doing the stuff that we like. Again, because we don't have the money, because we don't have the support, because we don't have our own support, we feel like we're going to let ourselves down. It's a number of different things, but just if you take that first step, you'll eventually start figuring things out.
Lit. So where can people find you on social media?
All right, so my personal social media account is Reyes. On Instagram is Reyes_Victor. You can find me on Facebook at Victor Reyes. And then we have our website for Directed. It's www.directedapparel.com. We have an Instagram. It's Directed_Apparel. And then we have a Facebook, Directed Apparel. And then my team is on there too. So you can just look for their personal ones too. They all have something to offer. So if you guys ever need anything, just go ahead and look at us. Biggest thing is, again, if you guys know anything or see people out there that you feel like they're very underrated and like you feel like they need a name, you can very much hit us up. We'd be more than happy to talk to them and kind of give them that support that they feel that they need. Pretty much at the end of the day, we just want to go out there and help people. We just want to direct people, guide people in the right way.
Any last words to the people?
Any last words to the people? Thank you. I know my brand isn't global. I know my brand isn't as big as most of the other brands. But I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to my team. I want to say thank you to anybody that's supporting me.